few days ago, the United States Embassy in Nigeria warned Americans in the country to be cautious of their movement in response to elevated risk of terror attacks, specifically in Abuja, the nation's capital. The United States says, quote, "There is an elevated risk of terror attacks in Nigeria, specifically in Abuja. Targets may include, but are not limited to, government buildings, places of worship, schools, markets, shopping malls, hotels, bars, restaurants, athletic gatherings, transport terminals, law enforcement facilities, and international organizations." End of quote. But in response to the United States stance and security alert, the Department of State Service has responded to that alert, and they've said, quote, "While advising that necessary precautions are taken by all and sundry, the populace is enjoined to remain alert and assist security agencies with useful information regarding threats and suspicious criminal acts around them." Meanwhile, the service calls for calm as it works with other law enforcement agencies and stakeholders to maintain peace and order in and beyond Abuja. End of quote. That is a response of the DSS. Meanwhile, the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, has also been reacting to the issues raised by the United States over these alerts. Well, we get it in a moment. But let me get the view, the professional view, and a benefit of insider, someone who has worked several years in the DSS and the intelligence community. I'm being joined by our former director of the DSS, Mr. Mike Ejiofor, and our very good friend here. Thank you so much, Mr. Ejiofor, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You respect the intelligence gathering capacity of the United States, isn't it?
Yes, I do.
They're not flippant.
Not really, but you see, the problem is that advisories have been issued severally since this year from the United States. And the State Security Service on its part to have issued same advisory. You recall, we should be able to look at it. That advisory was not actually meant for Nigerians, but for U.S. Citizens and nationals resident in Nigeria, the same thing with UK and Canada. The fact remains that this thing raised a lot of, panic or alarm, if you will, within the citizenry of Nigeria. Don't also forget that there have been a series of advisories, from the United States. You recall in 2015 that they also predicted that Nigeria was going to end before if the elections were not conducted. So ordinarily, following trend and analysis, you see that towards election, there are bound to be apprehension among the populace, not necessarily terrorist attack. I'm not, however, trying to dismiss their advisory. But what it calls for is, like the State Security Service too, on its part, has said that there is no cause for alarm. People should remain calm, be vigilant, especially in crowded areas, parks, schools, and others. So it calls for vigilant on part of our citizens. I still maintain that there is no cause for alarm.
So the reason why this perhaps carry a bit of weight this time around is that the United Kingdom has also reinforced what the United States has said. They also released a security alert. Basically, the U.S. chose its staff saying, this is going to happen, and people should be cautious. Now, if nothing is really happening beyond the normal eyes of the average civilian, these countries will not come up with this. That means that something is really happening within the intelligence community that they have gathered.
I'm not saying nothing is happening, and I'm also not admitting that the advisory from United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom are 100%. These are projections.
Could they, those information or intelligence, could they have been shared with the Nigerian intelligence community? Is that their rapport, that camaraderie?
Is it impossible that the State Security Service has shared this intelligence with them? And
it could be from the Nigerian intelligence community?
Yes, based on which they say, okay, let us alert our citizens. People, most times, blame the state security and the security agencies for issuing alert. Remember the implications of issuing such alerts. It creates panic. It creates fear.
But they did that to their staff, isn't it?
Yeah, to their staff.
Don't they have the right to protect their own and give them, at least caution them?
That's the Americans.
Yeah, I mean, the foreign entities.
The foreign national, they have a right to, but it also depends on handling of the information.
And I must say,
not meant for the members of the public.
And I must say, Mr. Ejiofor, that when things go wrong, we raise it right, because that's our job as journalists. We'll bring these issues up. And I'm one of those who are critical about how things can be done better, especially when security is going bad. But I must give my salute tonight to the gallant men and women in the military, in the security agencies who are doing their work diligently day and night. I must salute them tonight to say Nigerians respect and we appreciate what you're doing, because there seems to be some silence and quiet on some security situation in the country. Not saying that there are no security incidents. I'm aware that there was a threat in Kano, a threat in Jigawa. In fact, they arrested a bomber who went to a welder and got some of the equipment to build a bomb. We're aware of some of this effort, and we must salute them. But the question is, what more can we do to ensure that these terror alerts are not being threatened, in fact, to perhaps the safest place that you can refer to in the country?
You see, a lot is being done behind the scene without the security agencies coming out to tell you what they are doing, except it's absolutely necessary. You recall that in the past 1 week, I don't know, you've not been on this program for some time, where you traveled out of the country, but I'm sure you must be monitoring what is happening. In the past 1 week, I believe, I'm not saying authoritatively, that based on intelligence shared with the police has stepped up its patrol in the past 1 week, before this advisory from the United States. They have this issue of stepping up patrol, putting up checkpoints. If you move around the town now, you see the checkpoints. And that happened before the advisory. So it's not as if the security agencies don't know. Let me come to the trend. When the heat was turned on the terrorists in the northeast, they moved to northwest and started creating a lot of havoc. Now, you remember that most of these are programs. I've always advocated that the efforts should be deployed to this. Now, our victims in the train incident have been released, and the efforts have been pounding these people continuously, yielding results. Though ordinarily, you don't have to be a security expert or a security. The tendency for them to move out from that place towards Abuja. Don't also forget that the state securities have issued an alert that there are cells within and around Abuja some time ago.
I mean, you are the expert,
yes.
Mr. Ejiofor, and some of the knowledge that we glean from people like you is that when these people have no capacity to carry out major attacks, they split into cells, smaller cells, and go for soft targets. Is it true?
That is true.
Yeah, and we understand that there was a plan a few weeks ago, a planned coordinated attack in about 4 or 5 cities in this country, which we understand that the security and intelligence community have quelled, and they've made some arrests. Kudos to them. But let's get a free security consultancy from you tonight, and perhaps for the benefit of the millions of viewers of this program tonight. If this kind of alerts are coming, what should an average Abuja resident or those who are living within this environment, what should they be doing?
What we should be doing, I'm happy to. You have, saluted our security forces for their efforts. But we cannot leave security challenges for the security agencies alone. We as citizens have roles to play. Like it's always said, you see something, say something. Be observant of environment. Be vigilant. It's always said that the pride of liberty is eternal vigilance. We are in trying times. And we must also help the security agencies observe our environment, look at strange faces, and report. The SSS has dedicated lines. The police has dedicated lines. If you don't want to go there personally, because people are afraid to just come out.
Are there emergency numbers?
They are emergency numbers.
Do you have short codes?
I'm not short code, but I see the adverts.
I mean, I know Lagos has that, but I'm not sure.
I see the adverts.
Yeah, of short code, because that, I mean, everybody knows 911 in some other countries.
Maybe I think police
it's 121 or something. I can't remember. But I mean, these are supposed to be information that is supposed to be put out there.
The way to go now.
What time do you think is okay for people to retire to their homes? I mean, like the Americans and the UK government told their staff in Nigeria that they're going to cut down on the activities at their embassies. People should desist from being in crowded places and all of that. Would you be able to tell Nigerians what to do? Maybe like 3 things for them to do tonight.
You see, like crowded places. You see, each time I see all these queues at petrol stations, I get worried. So the government must do something urgent to see that these petrol queues are reduced, because that's a major threat now. Yeah. Then in churches, mosques, they should be able to have their own security outfit, manning the place and possibly advising, giving security lectures and awakening the people's consciousness.
Vigilance.
Awakening their consciousness to their responsibilities, both to the state and the security agencies.
I mean, is there a time that everybody needs to be their own brother's keeper now? Exactly. We need all of that.
Exactly.
But I must sincerely thank you, Mr. Mike Ejio, for we can't thank you enough for these free advice that you have gotten.
And welcome back.
Thank you so much. I appreciate Mr. Mike Ejio, a former director of the DSS. They say if you see something, say something. You can do much more to secure not only yourself, but those who are around you. We are not in the best of time, but God bless Nigeria. And that's how we end the program tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.